everything LCS. This is episode 2, and I'm Magi, back here with my co-host Vega. And with week 1 of LCS wrapped up, boy, do we have a lot to talk about. And we finally started the LCS spring split, but I honestly don't know how to feel about how it started off. It wasn't anything that I really expected for how it began.
Yeah, we're all Flyquest fans now, right? Everyone's Flyquest and Dig fans now?
Definitely Flyquest fan. Dig fan, already a Dig fan because my boy Afro moves on. So Dig and Fly, let's Dig and Fly, just taking worlds already. We already have what we need.
This is it. We don't need any more. Just Dig and Flyquest all the way. Plant as many trees as we need.
Yep. I mean, I'm fine with Flyquest winning. As long as Flyquest gets kills, I am a happy camper. Right here.
It's actually just so refreshing, like having I know Cloud9 is also tied, so we can just ignore that for a second, but having Dig and Flyquest like hypey after week 1 and not just be like TSM TL C9 again.
Yeah, it's really good to see like some other orgs step up. At least it shows that their off season really was beneficial. That's good to see. It shows that they weren't just jerking around, as I feel last year kind of felt like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, just to run down the standings real fast of where we are after week 1. Tied for first place, we have Cloud9, Dignitas, and Flyquest. At 1-1, we have 4 teams with Evil Geniuses, Immortals, Team Liquid, and 100 Thieves. And tied for last place at 0-2, TSM, CLG, and Golden Guardians. Any surprises there for you? Well, I know there's plenty of surprises there. First of all, being Golden Guardians.
Oh, yeah. Golden Guardians, I would never expect them to be bottom of the standings. But, ooh, man, that TSM 8th place right there.
Oh.
I mean, I know it's not 8th, but it just hurts my soul. It really does.
Yeah, I think I expected them, having their full roster to be one of the teams that was at the top because, we kind of said we weren't sure if Cloud9's roster was going to be stronger. TL's missing Broxa, but TSM looked strong. They have their whole roster here, and they looked some of the worst of any team in the league this week.
Yeah, they really did. Just did not look how we expect them to be. They went to Korea. They said they had good showings. Even they had this whole drive video for Bjergsen telling how he wants to lead the team. And here they are leading with an 0-2 week. It just wasn't how I expected. With Dardoch there and everything, I thought this is it. They're gonna come out swinging, and it's gonna be old TSM. But now it's team stall map.
Yeah, and right there with them is CLG, who I think both of us picked as being an upper playoff team. And they looked bad. At least with TSM, you saw early game where you're like, okay, they're doing stuff, and then they're just stopping. CLG was just getting smashed beginning to end for 2 games straight.
Yeah, it just looked really bad. They look pretty disjointed. I feel communication could possibly be an issue right now. Wiggly honestly didn't even look nowhere near how he ended last split right now, which is kind of sad for me. Was really looking forward to see Wiggly. Really, that ever since that solo kill on Bjergsen with Silas, I was like, yeah, Wiggly's the guy. But right now, CLG not looking too hot with the pieces that they have gotten so far.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the Jarvan EQ in mid lane.
Yeah, no, that's necessary.
I'm just like, we could turn the VOD off right here. That's enough of that. But yeah,
that's it.
They just looked like. I know they had issues with Crown's visa towards the end. They went and had the boot camp, came back, and Crown wasn't able to come back with them at first. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe this is the first week they haven't practiced together too much because there's rumors Crown might not even play in week 1. But yeah, just all over the place. A lot of plays where Smoothie's initiating and the rest of the team's going the other direction. Just super disjointed from them.
Yeah, and as I said, you just clearly see it in the play. And it's weird, even like they did have the visa issues, but they did boot camp in Korea. So I feel they should have at least built some form of synergy. Was it that good of synergy? We actually don't know. We're not too sure. But just wasn't. We just thought there'd be more, really.
Yeah.
To what CLG would be showing.
Yeah.
The old guard is well, not entirely the old guard. We have Cloud9, Dignitas holding it down for the old guard results, but
yeah. I'm just like so excited at the Cloud9 that we saw, because when we were talking about it in like the pregame pod and we were going over like what is the best version of this Cloud9 look like, and it was like this hyper aggressive, like getting early leads and then turning that into things. And they've got the lowest average game time in the LCS. They go 2-0, albeit we'll give them the first day. TL not having their jungler and Churnfire being on like next to no practice. We're not really sure what that result looks like yet.
Honestly though, I thought Churnfire looked pretty decent. I mean, he's a jungler, so I'm glad. Even though he came in with such short time practice, his was pretty good showings from him. I was impressed, but too bad we only saw his Jarvan. Hopefully he could play more than just Jarvan. But it's good. It's good to see that even though they had this difficulty, they showed some life. They showed some good life.
Yeah, it shows they can still win with a sub. They're not, completely out of it. They're not going to just drag up a bunch of losses while they're waiting on Broxa. They're still a good team. And for Cloud9 side, things look good. So far, yet another season, Cloud9 loses the offseason and comes out and looks good,
Oh, yeah, they lost the offseason so hard. But, they have the Mad Lads, Blabber and Vulcan. So
I love it.
Guys. Blabber looked impressive.
Really, he looked much better than I anticipated him looking. And we don't know, how well that's going to transfer, because we've seen Blabber have stints of where he looked really good on stage, and then as you got more of a sample size, you're like, well, he's kind of hit or miss. But hopefully, with the roster they have now, they can keep up this pace, of these aggressive games, these fast-paced games where they're playing into his style.
Yeah. So recently, I since he's on the main roster more, you can see how much it's helped him. I heard an interview recently. It was saying how Blabber, now he's on the main roster, instead of just going in, he actually has an escape plan out for his crazy plans. Like, instead of just Leroy Jenkins it right into the enemy team and giving them some shutdown gold. So it's good to see some growth, and good to see that getting rid of Sense Garen wasn't that bad of a choice.
Yeah. I guess moving right down the rankings here, Dignitas. They looked awesome.
Yeah, Dig was impressive. All of them, they looked like a really good unit. They looked like a team, and just the follow that they had. Froggen's play, impressive. Hooney, deathless.
Yeah, how about that stat? Deathless.
That is an impressive stat, I have to say. No one was really expecting. They were like, and he built what really caught my eye, the Gargoyle Stone Plate. I saw that and I was like, maybe I'll start building that when I use Connected if I get a nice lead.
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot to like the veteran people on this team that like week one, a lot of times you hear interviews and stuff. A lot of the results early in the season have to do with like veterans on a team, because guys like Afro and Froggen and Hooney that maybe don't have as much practice together, they're veterans. They're used to playing with different people and playing different styles, and it's easier for them to gel. And you could really see like there wasn't like a lot of missed opportunities for them. It was very clean. Johnson, being the youngest player on the team, looked perfect in bot lane with Afro. They played well. He played a carry role extremely well for them. They look, out of the teams we watched this week that looked clean and I have expectations of, I think Dig was probably the highest. Like Flyquest looked great, but you always have worries a little bit about the roster. Dig has the highest ceiling, in my opinion, of that group of teams we talked about, like the low playoff teams. Because if Afro plays great, if Froggen plays great, if Hooney plays to his potential, and Johnson is actually a good rookie, this team could compete for a title.
Yeah, you're right. But the highest ceiling, I feel they may not. Okay, actually, yes, they.
Is Greg the linchpin for you? Is Greg like the question mark for you?
No, it's not. No, he's not. He's not the question mark. Because Greg hasn't really had a chance to prove himself effectively, really.
Right.
But right now, I definitely feel that they are ahead of the teams. Like they're ahead of the curve already after a week. But I don't know. I feel their ceiling is pretty high, but will it be what they need to really like push through like other teams? Because right now they have a head start. Other teams will start getting better as well. So it'd be great to see them keep up this momentum. Like by week 6, if they're like just what would it be by week 6? How many games is that?
10 games? 10 games?
10?
Yeah.
10 games?
Start of week 6, it'll be 10 games.
Yeah, if they didn't drop very small amount of games by week 6, I'll be like, wow, this team could be it. These guys are the real deal. But also, what I also like to highlight is that these guys they won their games handedly. They didn't even give away that many kills. So that's just great to that's great to know and see in a team like Dig with all these our veterans. It's really good. High hopes.
Dig actually gave up the least kills in the league at 6 kills. In 2 games, they only gave up 6 kills.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's insane, right? It's insane. Like they actually only gave up 6 kills. Cloud9's in second with 10 kills, but Cloud only got 1 more kill than Dig.
Jeez, those stats are actually crazy, and it's funny because we have Hooney on this team.
Yeah.
And then we have Alphamu, who people were saying last year caught this fire to have Alpha retire. Well, we are. And Alpha is showing why he shouldn't retire. So it's just good to see. I'm happy. I am happy.
Me too. Moving right down, our last 2-0 team, we have Flyquest. This team made me so hyped this week. I mean, like, they were just so fun to watch. And even as a CLG fan, it was like this inner battle of, like, this hurts so much, but this is so fun to watch. Like, they're just a fun team. And I was blown away. The first game, I kind of was like, okay, don't let yourself get sucked into this. They got Riven. They had a good game. It's fine. And then you get to their second game of the week, and they smash CLG. I mean, at the end, we're talking about PoE getting 5-man flashed on in an engage and him getting out. And then just 5-0ing a fight.
Yeah, it was just these guys played insane, and I'm happy these guys are going for these kills. These guys are going for the fights. These guys are finding the flanks. Viper looking like even minus the river. Like, let's forget the Riven game. We know he's great at Riven, but even after that, he's doing great in his role. Is being fantastic. Even when Wild Turtle he was used as bait mid lane. He died, but they got, what was it? Was it an ace or was it like triple kill?
It was at least I think like a 4-for-1 or something.
4-for-1.
Yeah.
Just like even when those things happen, these guys are fast moving. These guys are making the plays needed, and it's great too because every kill they get some fertilizer for the ground.
Go green.
Green quest, tree quest.
Yes.
I mean, there you go.
By the way, their new jerseys are clean. I love their new jerseys.
I'm actually honestly about to buy one. I saw it. That is a jersey that I will definitely be wearing in the springtime. It looks.
Yeah.
It just looks. It's refreshing, actually.
Yeah, it's not dark colors and like edgy. It's like fun and flowery, and it's just nice. It's just a nice jersey. I love their rebrand. Their rebrand is like, it's kind of gone under the radar, like, because 100 Thieves like announces their new facility in jerseys, and then like the next day, Flyquest like, by the way, we got a facility in New Jersey's, so it didn't get like the talking points. But I love their rebrand, like the Go Green thing, their new jerseys, their take on like kind of having the environmental stuff. I love it. I love having an LCS team like that.
Yeah, I'm glad there's an LCS team that has a message. Like all this whole time we've just had we have our LCS teams. Or 100 Thieves was one who had their messages like take what's not given. That was cool, but
right.
Flyquest is something that you like really see, and you really see the impact. So really happy, really glad with this team, and really looking forward to what else they will be doing in the future.
Yep. One thing to note on Flyquest, just looking at like the statistics for them on the week, Cloud9 had the second most kills of the week with 28, which is like a pretty good amount. It's 14 a game. It's a pretty good number. Yeah. Flyquest had 40 kills in their first so they're averaging 20 kills a game right now. Extremely bloody. Yeah, that's that's what we want. That is exactly what we want as viewers. Yeah, they're just
for
fun.
A good cause too. So just super exciting games. I will definitely be tuning in to each of their games. That's for sure.
All right, and moving right down to the 1-on-1 teams. I want to start with Immortals because since we're just coming off Flyquest, one point I wanted to talk about was SOAS this week. I thought I watched the Immortals Flyquest game. I came out of that game and I turned right to a friend of mine and I said, I think Immortals might be the worst team in the league because of how badly they got beaten. And I at the time did not think Flyquest was very good. So I was like, man, they got smashed. SOAS was getting like solo killed, and this was rough. But then TSM saves us from having to say that Immortals is wholeheartedly the worst team in the league by losing to them. But yeah, Immortals was kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde this week. They looked completely lost against Flyquest, and albeit not great against TSM, but they end up 1-1 at the end of the week. What are your thoughts on them?
Let's see. My thoughts on Immortals right now. I see SOAS still doing the SOAS. He's pushing the side lanes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly not really that impressed with Immortals. I feel the TSM game was kind of handed because TSM just had spaghetti in their hands.
Yeah.
But as much as I love Xmithy, I see or even early, I see some holes that are being exploited in some of the games early as well. And their mid laner Ica, the TSM there was some game, I'm pretty sure it was a TSM game. He was just 0-0-0, and it was maybe 30 minutes in.
Yeah, he was like 0-0-0 with 300 CS.
Yeah, I just feel like I heard his visa didn't come till recently, and they've been practicing with Insanity. But I watched the Academy games, and Insanity looks a lot better than Ica.
Yeah.
He definitely looked a lot better than Ica from what I saw. But I'm not that convinced. They were only able to really win their game against TSM just due to their bad decision making. Due to TSM's bad decision making, NT was able to keep their heads on their shoulders. Looks like a bit more. So I don't know. Maybe this team will just be, hey guys, wait for late game, which I don't want. I don't want at all.
Me either. I did not enjoy, and we'll get to it later, but I did not enjoy, really, I enjoyed the Flyquest side of their first game. Their second game was miserable. And we could talk about the Trundle pick. I think it's pretty open. I mean, Trundle buffs are coming this week. It just felt like, hey guys, you just want to wait like one more week to pick Trundle and not get a completely use.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's something.
And I don't know. They may have, based on the first game of Flyquest, they may have the same drafting problems. That's just what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, like they let the Riven through for some reason. for some reason, let the Riven through, and then they picked this Trundle pick, which is super not in the meta. We have Elise, we have Lee Sin, and X-Smithy can use Lee Sin. We've seen games where he does.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know, very underwhelming. Not this. They just don't excite me. If they start winning, and in good ways, not in like the TSM way,
Right.
then they'll get my attention. But they're pretty low. Even if they're in the middle of the pack, I feel like it's not that deserved.
Right. I mean, the Trundle pick just like it makes you just to circle back. Like, there's not even a tank on Flyquest. Like, they had Riven and Victor, and they had Lee Sin in the jungle. It's not like you're picking it to like take away an Ornn. And I mean, like, it just felt like the classic. At some point every season, someone forgets to ban Riven against Viper, and then he goes off on it, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Well, now we ban that."
Yeah, but why would they do that the first game of the split?
I don't know. I don't understand it.
That's the thing. That's my problem. We know he's good. You want to start off strong, but you do this. So
Yeah.
oh
well.
Yeah.
Moving on, we'll go to Evil Geniuses next. Your thoughts on EG this week? I know we were kind of hyped, but I'm the EG fanboy this season. They're going to the finals. I may have changed. May want to redo my list a little bit. I felt really bad on Sunday. I felt really bad, and then on Monday I was like, okay, maybe they'll be good.
We saw both sides of this Scarin Jizuke mashup there.
Yeah,
but maybe Monday Night League worked out for EG. That day, the EG Academy, Scarin and Kuma had to step in. Scarin went 0-5.
Yeah,
against the Academy team. But maybe that was his warm up to get all his int out.
Yeah, that's what I was watching it like. This looks terrible. They're gonna get smashed. Oh my gosh, Kumo's getting like beaten in by this like Academy top laner. But yeah, I mean, their game Sunday against Dig, I think Dig was just super clean, and EG looked like a team that they looked like a new team. They looked like a team that was kind of like they weren't really committing to too many plays. There wasn't a whole lot happening on the map. And then when they played against 100 Thieves on Monday, it felt like 100 Thieves was not as punishing as Dig was to mistakes. I didn't think EG played like a super clean game. It felt like they were hyper aggressive, and 100 Thieves weren't really punishing it as much. Like you see, there was a ton of times seeing Jizuke like double distort under towers in mid lane, trying to like find Olaf when he's one hit and things, and Scarin's taking Qs into unwarded things, but it was working out because they weren't getting punished, while Dig was more reactive, more veteran. It felt like they knew what EG was going to try and do to them.
Yeah, Dig was more on the ball, catching their mistakes, and which was great. And I mean, you saw the holes with the 100 Thieves. I mean, it may be some nerves with Ryoma. There was a fight going on in River. Ryoma almost got Jizuke, but because he didn't auto one more time, Jizuke was able to get away.
Right.
It was topside River. Ryoma he ulted away, but he did almost get the kill. Okay, but and then he began to run away, but then he realized he could kill him, and then he turned back around. And if he was going to do that, he should have just committed from the start and just like threw one more auto. I'm pretty sure he would have killed Jizuke there, and maybe that could have been the turning point of the game. But growing pain for the team. But EG, first day, no, it didn't look as good as we thought. C9 tweeted out that they scammed EG, which was hilarious. But yeah, Monday Night League, they looked really good. Like Jizuke making all these plays, and Jizuke is a player that we need in NA. I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
To show to show our mids how to play. Just like how Herx went ADC and showed ADCs, hey, you gotta be super aggressive all the time with Zaya or something like that. Jizuke, how he played was nothing like most LCS mids, I have to say.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch. It was painful, 100 Thieves fan, but I was like, yeah, this is pretty crazy. But yeah, they're looking good. I feel now Evil Geniuses probably has a really high ceiling. If Kumo could just end up being the sponge, because looking at Kumo right now, not that impressive. He's usually has a goal deficit, but
yeah,
if Kumo could become baby Impact and just become like a sponge, and absorb pressure, the team would be the team's ceiling would be very high. So I'm really excited to see how they're gonna progress through this.
Yeah, like Kumo through the weekend, this is across both games. He had an average of a 17% kill participation. So he was only 3 and 4 through the whole weekend. So
17% kill participation out of, let's see, how many kills? 17 kills. There weren't even that many games.
Yeah, so he's not highly involved in their play, and you can tell watching the games. I mean, he's picking more top, he's pushing, he's clearing waves, he's trying to soak someone up, he's trying to pull away and it's kind of hard with the sample size we saw too, because he goes against Dick, he plays against Huni. They probably don't want Kumo to pick something where he's going to try and 1v1 Huni. His next matchup, he's going against Someday. You're probably not going to want Kumo fighting Someday a lot. You want him to pick something where he can wave clear and be safe. So this may pan out a little bit better when it gets into some other matchups, but it was kind of, I'll say, refreshing that he went 3 and 4. His kill participation is not high, but he didn't feed. He didn't cede a ton of pressure, and he was against 2 of the better top laners in the league, and Someday, who I think looked insanely good this week.
Yeah, Someday looked like he was trying to once again drag 100 Thieves to a possible win or something, but it's classic Someday, classic 100 Thieves also.
Yeah. But well, we can move right into 100 Thieves if you want to. So nice, another 1-1 team for the week.
Yeah. Yes. So 100 Thieves. They looked okay. I mean, actually, they looked less than okay, really. But how they absorb the how they managed to get into the late game and find fights. They feel they were able to. They're pretty decent at stalling, but I feel like that's due to Someday's play. How his role in the team is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They looked like, I think you can clearly see when watching them, like the good and the bad. You could see, okay, when this works out, Someday is carrying, Meteos is aggressive in the jungle, and their bot lane is solid. Like, their bot lane was not a net negative, really, in most games. It's really kind of mid lane, where it's tough for me to get a read on them. It's hard for me to tell, like, is he, like, playmaking here? Is this, like, are they getting pushed in mid and losing a bunch of pressure? Because, like, the second game, they have the Olaf pick, which gets behind, and once Olaf gets behind, there's, like, a ton of situations where Jizuke is just forcing, Meteos out of it, and you can't tell, like, well, is this a situation where, like, the mid-jungle is the difference, or is this just a mid difference?
Yeah, and just like, one-shotting Meteos. There was talk about Ryoma having, like, only, what was it, 5, either 6 CS per minute at, what was it, either at 20 or at 30. That's a big gap in the game, but either during that time, which is concerning since he is on Rise.
Yeah.
Which is one of the safest and strongest picks when it comes to, like, so that is some concern. But you could test 2 nerfs. That's something that could happen. Even though he did play professionally in OCE, it's a different environment.
Yeah.
So could be that.
To give the stat, Ryoma was last in the league in mid laners at 6.5 CS per minute. And by comparison, Jizuke was first with 9.1. So we're talking almost a 3 CS per minute difference between the two of them.
You mids right there.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So could be nerves, could be unsure what he's doing, or could be unsure on how to go about certain things. But like I still have hope. Their late game, if like they know how to turn things around if given the chance. They almost did. I feel for EG. Actually, there were times that they almost did, but just too strong. I feel their vision was pretty weak when they should have had more vision. Just because Jizuke was just so huge just off the get-go of the game.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I noticed. He was just getting all these flanks off, and you're like, why is he getting these flanks off? He's fed, and he was getting them off in 100 Thieves jungle too. Like they should have this setup ready, just to be ready for when he jumps on him, because they know he's going to be doing what LeBlanc does.
Yeah, there was like a point late in the game where I thought they were still skirmishing, where you're like, okay, well, if 100 Thieves gets a good recon engage, there's like potential they could blow up a fight, because there was like a lot of farm on their AD carry, and you're like, okay, well, Ryze is still strong, and Stunt goes in, and Jizuke one-shots recon like in his W, and I was like, okay, this game's over. That's like the way they win a fight, and he's getting blown up on like the travel of his like W. I was like, okay.
There was a fight at Baron, the losing fight basically, when they were at Baron, when he popped Codyson.
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
Before that happened, I thought 100 Thieves. I was like, all right, this is. I was like, all right, this is actually pretty good. Codyson's in like a good spot. But once Jizuke got that flank off, I was like, no. I thought the fight was going to turn in their favor, but Jizuke came and just popped Cody right there. If that fight didn't happen, I feel that's when the game probably would have started turning in 100 Thieves' favor. But, I can't do much about it now. It was. I give 100 Thieves the benefit of the doubt. They are my team, and growing pains. Ryoma, OCE, he's trying to get his footing, trying to get his own comfort. So I will be keeping a close eye on them, if anything.
If it makes you feel better, Ryoma has the highest kill participation of any mid laner in the league at 88%. So he's involved, at least in what 100 Thieves is doing.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at him like his stats, you could say, okay, CS numbers aren't where you want, but he's a professional player. Maybe this is nerves, like you said. Maybe it looks like his team play is not terrible. He's just not playing mechanically well, which is, honestly, if I had a player who was having issues early in the season, I'd almost rather it be mechanical than team play, because you can fix that through practice. It's much harder to fix team play.
Yeah, a lot of the... Yeah, speaking of team play, a lot of his... I really like realm warps that he took during 100 Thieves. I felt they really helped situations. Even secured them a kill on Jizuke. It went on stunt, but they still got the kill. But he, as you said, team play, something to build upon. So as I said, keep a close eye on him.
Yep. Our last 1-on-1 team, Team Liquid. It's kind of tough to get a read. I found myself this weekend when I was like doing research on them and like watching the games and kind of going through what I thought about their games when I rewatched them. And it's weird because we've seen Team Liquid be so dominant for so long that watching them kind of have issues that we're not used to, I felt myself almost putting them to a higher standard. You know what I mean? Like when I watched the TSM game and you watch Doublelift die to a gank and then get ganked again, I was like, oh my god, what are they doing? Doublelift
was at least 0-3 at was 0-3 at some point during that game.
I thought that game was over. I was like, they're going to smash this bot lane now and take this lead and like run with it. And you see Bjergsen on Zillion, which I'm like, okay, cool. This game's not going to be fun.
You're like, all right, we know how.
Yeah, and somehow through their Team Liquid ways, find a way to beat TSM.
Oh yeah, their team. You saw the clear difference in team play between TL and TSM. TL,
Yeah.
there were so many good combos with just Jensen just popping off, but also partnering with Impact to get those good ults off as well. He always had Impact would be in the middle of the team. He'd always have his ball Impact, so he could give him speed up and give him what he needs to get in position and get that solid ult off, get that solid damage off. You saw the team play. That's there. You saw where Team Liquid shines, and you see why they are back champions. You know, they know what they need to do. I feel for if C9 was any other team that TL went against, TL probably would have beaten. Like if any other team was in the position C9 was in at the start of the game, TL would have found a way to beat them, but they just couldn't keep up. How C9 draft for one, and just how they kept pushing their leads. So, but you know, I feel TL look like TL. You know,
Yeah.
Start of the split TL. This is how I see it.
That's what. Yeah, and one point I was going to make is like if you're a team like TL, which there aren't a lot of teams like TL, that's won back-to-back titles. You know, and you're going against Cloud9 week 1. You don't have your starting jungler. How much are you getting up for that game? You know, if you're a team that knows like it's a split long grind, who knows that one loss is not going to eliminate you. You know, and we talk about Cloud9 on the other hand, who has a bunch of new players who are super hungry. You know, how much do we take away from an opening game like that where we kind of know in the back of our minds, like, well, I very highly doubt TL plays like this in a playoff series. Yeah. You know, where, I'm not necessarily going to draw a lot from a loss to C9 in week 1 where I'm like, well, C9 has a lot to prove. Liquid doesn't really have anything to prove out of this game. If they beat C9, well, it's what we expected. If they lose, then, well, they didn't have their starting jungler and it's the first game of the season.
Yeah. So, and draft was... Oh, jeez. Draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll discuss that one later. But I have some problems with some draft decisions sometimes with these teams.
Well, if that's all on TL, we can move on to TSM. TSM. First thing I want to start this off with is Kabe had the highest gold percentage of any 80 carry in the league this week. Highest gold share of any 80 carry in the game this week.
And they still end losing.
I can't remember watching either of the games where I thought, wow, all they have to do is keep Kabe alive and they win this game. I can't remember ever thinking, wow, Kabe's going to take over this game. Both in the Immortals game, where I was like, well, he's dealing some damage on Senna, and I guess he's infinitely scaling. And in the MF game, I remember saying, wow, they got this huge lead bot, and then looking up like 15 minutes later and be like, what the hell? Double Lift is up like 60 CS on MF.
Yeah, I feel, both of the games for week 1, Kabe was on. I feel Senna's not a Kabe champ. I'm used to seeing Kabe on like hyper carries, like Kaiza, it's Tristana for one,
right?
Yeah. So there's some others like some other stand-up picks. There's a couple, but it's Kaiza, Tristana, and yeah. So I think he used Vayne one time too, but yeah, he's a hyper carry player, and I feel Senna fit that, and it sucks. Even though he had the highest gold share for ADCs, it didn't show anything.
Right. It's almost like, and we'll talk about TSM Immortals game a little bit more in depth later, but it's almost like they drafted to not give him success. Like in both games, you had him on where he got to a super fed point on an AD carry. The TL game a little bit less because I thought their draft in that game made sense. Like, you've got Zillion, you've got Leona MF. This seems pretty cookie cutter. Ease access. You want to go in Leona, you want to lock down, you want to keep your MF alive while she can ult and deal damage in the back. And then they just didn't. They they look confused, like almost Biofrost would go in. They're not committing to the fight. Biofrost gets blown up, and then TL, being the good team they are, abuses this 4v5 to get objectives.
Yeah. They're like I'm trying to think which side of the map did they even play that? I know Dardoch killed the early game for both of his games. For both games, he killed the early game. He got Broken Blade a lead. Or some, but with that, it was just they just didn't really push anything. Just knowing that Kabe had these stats, it would have been good to see them just beat the dead horse and focus and just pushing Kabe because we know he has what it takes to really carry the game, and if Bergson's on like Zillion duty or something like that. We know he's not going to be the one to carry. So
right.
And if Kabe is this AC that they brought in, who they feel is what they possibly need, should play towards him.
Yeah, and just like for Bjerg, he had as far as I can remember, the first time in his career, he had the lowest gold share of any mid laner in the league this week. So wow, they were making a concerted effort to make Kabe the carry in both of these games. They were saying, okay, we're not going to funnel gold into Bjerg for a carry. We want Kabe to be involved. And it just, I don't know. I will say this, of the 0-2 teams, TSM is the most promising because they had like really clean early games that looked good. They were getting leads. It's just like after that, they didn't know what to do, which is kind of surprising actually, because most of the people on these teams they're not rookies. They've played, you've got Bjerg, you got Bio, Dardoch's been in the league a couple of years. Kabe played in EU. Broken Blade played an entire year last year in LCS. I mean, it's not like a new team.
Yeah, and with Bergson and his leadership experience, you'd think they'd know how to take their leads and move around the map properly, but it was just so not. It just wasn't there. Like they didn't sync. They didn't take that many chances.
Yeah, I mean, it was like watching at every single position they were in where it felt like, okay, they're going to punish them for this. TSM is backing off. They're like, okay, we'll push them off the objective, we'll back off. Even in the Immortals game with, you've got Bjergsen on LeBlanc where he's very strong. There's no action for even when they have vision set up in somewhere. There's no action when they get somebody, and some of that game is draft, I think, because they essentially had no initiation. That wasn't a flash Lee Sin kick. They had no way to go on to Immortals, and Immortals just picks Braum and says, "Okay, this is fine. We're just going to play for you to lose because we have Smithy and we think we're smarter on the map."
Yeah,
which I guess worked out. The most painful game this year.
Yeah, worked out in the most drawn-out, slow.
God, it's like, does anybody want to win this game?
They definitely did not. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. So, moving on to the next one, CLG. I think, personally, that CLG looked the worst of any team in the league this week. Even worse than Golden Guardians, because it may be because we already thought Golden Guardians would not be good. So when I watched them, I was like, okay, they kind of look like what I thought they'd look like. But honestly, watching CLG, they looked completely lost. They weren't winning skirmishes. They looked not active on objectives. It was just both games they got smashed.
Yeah, and Ruin getting caught, just bad map movement. It was it just wasn't with the Korean top and Korean mid, I think they'd be able to mate together better, but didn't work out. the mid jungle synergy seems to be on the rocky side at the moment. But yeah, CLG just not that impressive. Ruining for the Star Split.
Yeah. And CLG, to compare like TSM and CLG, 0-2 teams, TSM on average was up 1,900 gold at 15 minutes. So like they were proactive. They were just not being able to hold the lead, and teams were stalling out games and winning. On the flipped end, CLG was on average down 2,400 gold at 15 minutes in both games. So like they were not close at 15 minutes. And then they went 10 and 34 in kills. Now the Flyquest game accelerates that a lot because they got absolutely smashed in that game.
Yeah, they got absolutely obliterated.
And it's just disappointing for them.
Yeah, and the fact that they have that huge goal difference just shows it shows where their problems possibly lie. It's with the mid jungle synergy, because junglers basically just early game. It's like first 10, 12 minutes, jungler is just supposed to do all the stuff to try and get a drag, get Rift Herald, and push objectives early. That's the goal. And then after those 10, 12 minutes, jungler is like just a smite bot at that point right now in pro play.
Yeah.
And just seeing how like just that goal difference alone, it just really shows the problems. It shows the glaring problems right now for CLG, I feel.
I agree. I mean, it's hard to look at them this week and say, you can look at TSM and say, well, their early game's good, you can do that. I hate to keep comparing them because, as a CLG fan, it's painful. But it's hard to find a positive from this week to look at and say, well, they did this well, and they need to work on that, because they never really got to that stage of games. I mean, they were coming out of laning so far down that it's hard to even tell, like, well, maybe they would have team fought better, but, they're already down 8k gold by the time they're team fighting. So, hopefully next week, we'll see something a little bit better. They don't exactly have an easy schedule next week either with the 100 Thieves and TSM.
Definitely do not.
So
some serious games right there.
Yeah, there's like a real possibility that CLG starts 0-4.
Yeah, and we know what they say about teams who start 0-4. They usually don't make playoffs.
Yeah, thank you, Cloud9, for ruining that.
Oh yeah, thanks, Cloud9. I mean, Golden Guardians last season.
They did, didn't they?
In the spring.
Yeah, they did. They started like 0-6 or something, didn't they?
No, definitely. Oh, actually,
no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, did they? I was like, no.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, they definitely started. Yeah, so who knows? Maybe CLG could turn it around, but right now their synergy is really off, and hopefully this past week they've been working on what really hurt them during the games this week.
Yep. So moving on to our last team, Golden Guardians.
Golden Guardians.
The Golden Guardians.
Golden Boys. Yep. Bottom of the standing. Everyone expected. I still have these guys as my dark horse. Honestly, I feel their early game was pretty good. Really, I feel they're better than CLG.
I do. I agree with that. I thought by far CLG looked like the worst team, and I'll go as far as to say I think Golden Guardians look better than Immortals this week. Immortals just had a drawn-out game against TSM where they got a win, and I think, honestly, yeah, Golden Guardians does not look like the worst team in the league at all.
Yeah, so I still have Golden Guardians definitely as my dark horse. Their early game for both games, really. Their early game for 100 Thieves, great closer, just bullied Meteos out of the jungle. I saw that and I thought it was over.
Me too. I was like, oh my god, he's on Gragas. Like, this is it. Like, you can't. There's no coming back from this.
Yeah, you're basically just a do. But yeah, the early game was good. Golden Glue, he did get his leads, but what this team's problem is, from what I saw, definitely their late game, just indecisiveness. How to they're also pretty unsure about how to play around the map. Like their macro isn't really the best. But they, as I said, their early game had some bright sides. Even against C9 Sunday, their early game was pretty decent until the pot happened.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, before I go into anything, what did you think of Keith this week?
Keith, game one, he was honestly game one. He looked fine. I feel like against Hundred Thieves, he was pretty decent. Game two, he's on Tam Kench, definitely not. From the looks of it, definitely not. Definitely would not put Keith on Tam Kench again.
He's not going to get your MVP for the week? He's not going to get one of your MVP spots?
No MVP. No MVP, but for Keith.
Not this week, Keith. Sorry.
Not this week. But also, many of his deaths for C9, he was covering for some of his teammates' bad positioning. Like with FBI, there were multiple times where he had to eat him and save him multiple times during that game. So he wasn't awful. I feel Flame not too justified. He was trying to do his job as the support, but obviously a lot to work on. But I think this team has a lot to grow. I think just based on the first week alone, they have good things to build on. If they could just figure out how to turn the early game, just to keep it going into the late game, these guys could make playoffs. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
for these guys.
I agree.
I like Golden Guardians.
You've turned to me. I was whole set. This is a 10th place team. After watching them this week, I was pretty impressed. You could see, I was like, okay, there's a world now. I see Closer looks super good this week, and I already liked Hanser in the top lane, and I thought Golden Glue played pretty good this week. So yeah, I see a world where this team could be a dangerous team. It could be a playoff team. And on the Keith point, I remember I watched their first game, and I remember getting to the end and being like, you know what? There was nowhere in that game where I was like, oh yeah, he did that because he's an AD carry. Okay, he doesn't play support. It didn't look abnormal to me. He played okay, they're a losing team, but this support isn't glaringly bad to me. In the second game, like you said, he's playing Tom Kench. He's dying for his carries. I could have seen, if you take the nameplates off, you could have told me that was almost anybody in LCS. And they're playing support. I didn't think that Keith played terribly this week. But yeah, I see upside for this team. Right now, especially looking at what we saw on some other teams in week one, there's a real world where this team's a playoff team. That would not surprise me at all.
Definitely could take out Immortals, right now CLG, and that. TSM, don't think so. Actually, well, TSM through late game. Golden Guardians also through late game. So, when are they going against each other next week? No? Let me see. What is the schedule?
Golden Guardians has EG and Immortals next week.
Oh, okay. Well, at least next week we get to see whether or not they could. I feel they'll take on. I feel they could beat Immortals. We'll see if they can pull it off. Oh yeah. Yeah. So with Evil Geniuses, honestly, I feel just. but we'll see how it goes. Oh wait, and Hanser versus Kuhn. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that will be.
Yeah.
All right, that's our standings for the week in each team. Are you ready to move on to, in my opinion, the best part of the pod, which is the worst game of the week?
Here we go. The worst game of the week.
I thought this was going to be tougher for us. I thought this was going to be like, well, it's week 1, blah, blah, blah. A lot of teams didn't play good, but it's obviously TSM Immortals.
Yeah, there was blaring. We already said it. We already teased some of it earlier. They're just clearly the worst game, and really just looked like the 2 worst teams. It was just really, really bad. Just a mess. But do you want to start?
Yeah. Starting off with this game, my first issues with it are the draft. Let me get the picks up right here for me. So, looking through their week 1 stuff, I thought TSM's draft was one of my least favorite of the week. I thought that TSM's draft drafted no engage for them at all. So when you're looking at it, I was like, okay, well, we saw TSM, or this is TSM's first game. So I was like, okay, well, maybe their plan is they're just going to fight and scrap a lot early with this Lee Sin. They're going to get huge leads, and then they're going to siege, They're going to use this LeBlanc pick to pick off stragglers and maintain vision with their gold lead, and they're going to use this Sin as long range to kill towers,
Yeah.
Nope. TSM's going to get a lead, and then they're going to AFK on the map for 30 minutes and pray for something to happen. I thought the Rumble pick, we've heard a lot about Rumble. We've seen Rumble banned plenty of times this week. Wasn't super high impact in this game either. I don't know.
I feel the lack of impact for the Rumble was primarily because he was in top lane. If you're Rumble mid, I've been playing a lot, abusing it. Just being like, I played both sides too. Like, being top, you're just so far from the people who you can kill, which is the bot.
Right.
The fact that Broken Blade was top rather than the fact the Rumble was used top rather than mid was really made it less impactful. So that was something that bothered me, and they should have at least had Virixian on mid. I heard Virixian was this week, but I still would have preferred if they had the Rumble mid, because top lane just can't take advantage of what Rumble does. Because in top lane you could have matchups. Mid lane, not so.
Yeah, and from Immortal's side, I'm not really sure how I feel about their draft, because it feels like they halfway had an idea of what they wanted to do, and the other half was kind of like, well, we want to pick Elise, because if we don't pick Elise, we're going to get crushed in the early game. We're not going to have any pressure, and we can't pick scaling junglers because scaling junglers aren't good right now because you don't get enough experience out of the jungle. But the Zoe, the Ezreal, the Braum, it's very clear. They're like, okay, we want to wave clear, we want to protect our carries, we want to play for late. You know what I mean? You don't pick Braum against this if you're trying to scrap a lot early, or Ezreal or something like that to be safe. It's very clear. Immortals kind of said, okay, we are probably not going to win laning phase. We want to be strong later. And I guess they're the, 5-head big brain coach, because that's exactly what happened. But yeah, the early game, I didn't keep a lot of notes on it because it kind of went like I think everybody expected it to. I thought at 20 minutes that this was going to be a TSM slam dunk, 32, 33-minute game. They had around a 3K gold lead. They had leads in every lane, except for I think top lane was pretty close in farm. It just looked like they were winning everywhere. And then there's this terrible, terrible, terrible Baron play where all of TSM goes bot to get Soaz, who's split pushing on this Aatrox.
Yeah.
And Immortals just does Baron, which it looked like watching a solo queue game where your team's like, go get Aatrox, he's split pushing, he's so pushed up, this guy's so dumb, what is he doing? And then someone on your team's like, wait a minute, we can do Baron. And they're up 4K at the point Immortals does Baron. So it's a 4K gold lead for TSM, which begs the question of why did they all need to go bot if there's a 4K gold lead on this team? But anyways, Immortals gets the Baron, and it's like the vehicle to stall this game. Like they get the Baron, they do almost nothing with it. But TSM can't push, they can't get anything, they can't siege any towers.
Yeah.
And then from then on, it's just Ezreal's online clearing, Zoe's one-shotting waves, Braum is blocking all the engage. And yeah, do you have anything on the early game of this?
For the early game, Dardoch just did his job. He got pretty good ganks off, and let's see something.
Yeah, his score is like super misleading in this game because if you just look at the end game, you see 055 Dardoch. It doesn't reflect like how he actually played in the game because his early game was super clean. Like his deaths were all late game.
Yeah, and that's what sucks about. I feel bad for Dardoch just because right now like he could make all these plays and do all these things early game, but even if he does like late game, it just doesn't matter. He becomes a non-factor. So, but yeah, what one of my biggest problems was how I know TSM they had it was Rumble, Lee Sin, like LeBlanc, and the Senna and Cam Kench. These are all champions who would prosper very well from Cloud Drake. There was a chance. Yeah, and I feel they should have maybe possibly prioritized it a bit more. I know a lot of people don't see it as valuable, but Cloud Drake is one of my favorite Drakes because of the cooldown reduction. You know?
Yeah, the ultimate that exceeds the cap.
Yeah, it gives 10% per Cloud Drake. So if you have a Rumble, he has 40% extra, like CR. So you could have 50%. You could have 50% CR on your if they like prioritize as well. And that little and just having all these tools, like the Senna ult, a LeBlanc with four Cloud Drakes is just insane, as well. She builds CDR. So her ult is basically always up. And with Cloud Drake, it'd just be a LeBlanc flying across the map. But I feel teams are just playing around Drake's weird at the moment.
I agree. It looks like there's this like clear division of teams who say we're going to go for Drakes early, and we want to play early game. We want to get Drakes. And then we want to take this game later. And then the other side, which is like teams who are like, we're okay with giving up 2 Drakes early if we get Rift Heralds and get a gold lead, and then we start taking the Drakes.
Yeah, and that's what TSM did. They got the gold lead early, and they gave first 2 dragons, you know?
Yeah.
And then they did start getting the Cloud Drakes, but then they really floundered in just in the regards of using it properly. Like if I had like 3 Cloud Drakes, I'd just be spamming my ult all the time as if I was Rumble. I'd be like, oh, okay, there's possibly a pick here. What do you have? It's like a Zoe. Yeah, you could easily kill a Zoe with the Rumble ult.
Yeah, and also just from the denial perspective, like you're going against Zoe, Ezreal, Aatrox, you know, things like this, and Braum, where you're like, I don't want Ezreal to have 4 Cloud Drakes. I don't want him to have I don't want Aatrox to have a Cloud Soul and move 100 miles an hour in his ult. You know, it's
and like run me down.
Yeah, I think it was 42 minutes in the game. I have it in my notes when they're doing the Baron dance when it's a 5v4 and Immortals just has Altec just taking the Dragon Soul for free. And then TSM goes 1 for 1 in the Baron pit. They kill Braum, and they lose their jungler, so they can't even get the Baron. They have to back off, and Immortals just gets a Dragon Soul for free. It felt very solo queue-esque. Like, you know, that's how it felt. Like I was watching a game, and I was like, okay, don't let them get Baron. Oh my gosh, they just got Dragon Soul. What happened?
Yeah, just no real coordination. From what you expect, a team like TSM.
Yeah,
or just from a team with Bergson. No real coordination, no real focus, and that's what really bothered me. Like with just how like the Dragon Fight skill. That was all right. I don't want to go back to like a previous game. That was one of my problems with the Golden Guardians, like how they lost against 100 Thieves. Like they had 3 Dragon Souls and they tried to fight for it. Instead, they could have traded Baron for one of the dragons. That was
it's like you're the one on point. You don't have to get it. You have the leeway to go say, sure, take a dragon. We're going to take Baron, and then we're going to use that pressure to get a gold lead, and we're definitely getting the next dragon.
Yeah, and TSM just just messed up the whole.
Yeah, it felt like Immortal just had like a better mental clock of like, okay, all we have to do is not let them get Baron, and we can get the dragons and the Barons because they're going to mess up.
Yeah,
and
because they can't really we have the Braum, we have the if they do a misstep, they'll get poked down. If they try to do anything, Braum will just be there and be like, I'll block the damage. So they definitely could have chose. I feel like they could have not chosen Senna this game. Maybe. I mean, Senna's a great champion. Actually, Senna wasn't even. It was just their map. It was just their map.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I'd say is you saw Dig pick Ashe this week and kind of solve this similar issue with the team, which is when teams bowed up on them, they had an Ashe ult. They could force an engagement,
Yeah. This TSM had nothing like.
Yeah, they had no way late game where they could do anything. Rom was keeping all pressure ahead, and watching the cast, a lot of people said the turning point was Immortals getting the Baron, which I agree with to a degree. That's like the big play in the game where they were able to stall. But there's a point, I don't know if you remember, at like 30 minutes in the game where TSM is pushing mid. They have this huge wave on Immortals mid inhib tower, and they're all balled up around it pushing it, and it gets down to like 200 HP, and the Rumble ult goes too far right, and Immortals is able to push them off and save that tower, and it never dies in the game, that inhibitor tower. God. And it's like, to me, that's like the breaking point of like TSM had this clear way of breaking the base at 30 minutes, and then they mess up the Rumble ult, and they're not able to get anybody, and they're pushed off, and then right after that they're low, and Immortals takes all the Baron vision.
Yeah.
I
also feel did Broken Blade play much Rumble last play?
Not that I remember. That jumps out to me.
So he's not. I know Bjergsen did one game on. They lost, but I don't know. Just not a champ that I feel was good to put on Broken Blade that game.
The ult when they were at Baron, he ults across like the entryway from blue side, and they all huddled up in the corner and weren't getting hit by it. I was like, this is so painful. Like they can't do anything.
Rather than through the Baron, like through the entrance.
Yeah, you're just like, oh my gosh, man. Like there were a bunch of ults that game where you were like, yeah, I don't even know if they're really Broken Blade's faults, because some of them were okay. Like they pulled like 2 flashes or something, but there was just no follow up to it. They just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, because they're real engaged, and we have this, we have the Lee Sin here, and he can't go in due to the Braum. We'll just get caught immediately.
I have 3 notes here on like 44 minutes. Rumble uses top of fight. They disengage. 46 minutes. Rumble ults. Doesn't hit anyone. 50 minutes. Rumble ult. Hits no one. I'm just like, okay, well. And there's one when they're fighting around the Elder. That's just, you could go on infinitely with stuff that was wrong with this game. But TSM loses their mid-inhib tower to minions while they're juggling around Elder Dragon.
Yeah.
Trying to keep Immortals off. And it's like, the one bright spot I will say, Bjergsen split pushing bot and getting an inhib, which TSM did nothing with. But they did get the inhib and threaten it.
Which is good. At least they're doing some side lane.
Yeah,
there.
That was like a point where you're like, clearly Bjergsen's like, okay, what we're doing around this Baron is not working. But what's frustrating is they sent 2 people bot. They sent Aatrox and Zoe bot to stop Bjerg, and Immortals is still the one hitting the Baron with 3 people, and forcing TSM to come respond.
Yeah, they weren't. they weren't confident, really.
Yeah.
TSM wasn't the confidence that we thought, and it just really showed. And this just drag of a game. Jeez.
Well, yeah, I don't have anything more on this. The sooner we get off this game and I can like get it out of my head,
the better.
The better I'll feel. Yeah, it feels like you ever like go run or something and it's like super like humid outside, and you get back and you feel like nasty and all that. That's how I felt when that game ended. I was just like, ugh, I need like a shower this game.
It's like, oh, it just feels so gross. That wasn't something I needed to watch.
No, I'm like, oh, this is, oh, God.
How to cleanse the soul, the mind. You're too tilted to play.
Yeah, like I don't even want to play League right now. So I don't. If I get in a game like this, I'm gonna be tilted the rest of the day.
You're like, this is exactly what's gonna happen, actually.
Yeah, but yeah, moving on, maybe on a more positive note to our next section, our favorite games of the week. So I think we each have one.
Yeah, we each got one. I guess I'll start. My favorite game of the week was definitely C9 versus TL. I feel that they did troll in the draft a bit. First picking Azir, and just when knowing Niski is a very good and active Vega player, was pretty troll. But the fights that they had were good. Some of the catches that they had were good, but it just got to a point where the Vega zoning was just too much for TL. But I thought it was a good game. It was good contest between the two. I mean, and then C9 got the Baron and ended, but that's just because it got to the point that TL couldn't really fight their comp anymore. So it was more pick ban. But even though the game was kind of won in draft, it was still a pretty good game, and it was something that I between the expected top teams in the TL looked decent, and as I mentioned, they were outmatched in the draft, and C9 just had nice, fast gameplay and knew what they wanted to do to push their advantage. So that was my game of the week. I enjoyed watching it. It was just good League of Legends in my eyes.
How do you feel? Okay, I agree. I loved this game, and also just like the stylistic matchup almost between like TL and C9, where you're like, TL is like the clean, performed play style. They play very smart moves, and Cloud9 is like the wild card, where they're like Jizuke the team, and you're like, well, I don't know what they're gonna do. It's a 25-minute game, but the only negative I had for this game was the disappointment of the draft of being like, yes, first game of the split, let's go. Jensen versus Niski, let's go. And then Azir gets locked in, and you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah, that was
watch Azir.
I feel if they didn't have Azir, I feel if they were playing just go Azir, they should just ban Vega, or just not go Azir at all.
I agree.
Because they blind picked it, and that just isn't a smart idea when you're going against people who use Vega. And just like even last year, people saw how strong the pick could be. It was showcased at Worlds, like versus FPX, the only game they won versus them, by the way.
Yes.
So yeah, it was poor decision. I was on the cocky side for TL. I feel with that, Dodo even said he wasn't afraid at all of C9. Well, he should have.
Yep. I did get kind of hyped about Core JJ playing Thresh. Anytime you see like a top tier support lock in something like Thresh, you're like, hell yes, this is what I want to watch.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. All the fights that they had were all really good. Core JJ was playing awesome. Double lift, unlike the TSM game, he didn't really get solo killed that much. And
that's the positive. He didn't get solo killed that much.
Yeah, but yeah, if they just like tweak the draft just a tiny bit, like I don't know, they could have honestly Galio's pretty right now. Maybe could have just chose Galio. They had who was Impact that game?
Mordekaiser, his Mord. Which I think's a good pick. I think Mord's a really good pick right now.
Yeah. Like they had a pretty good team coming. It was just the fact that Azir couldn't fight Vega, and that's just where the game blew up. And they had multiple good fights. So
yeah,
even with this disadvantage, So who knows what could have happened if they maybe prepped a bit better.
Exactly. You wonder almost. So they picked the Jarvan in first rotation. You wonder how much of this is, well, Surnefire, we know he plays Jarvan. We have to pick this first rotation. Jensen, are you okay, letting us get counter picks on, our top lane instead? Yeah. Are you okay, blind picking your mid laner so that, we can get a priority pick for Surnefire?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, even still, good game. I think it lived up to, it's a 25-minute game, so a lot of people will look at it and say, like, it's a clear C9 stomp, but not really. Yeah. They got a lead and they hammered it home fast, but it wasn't one-sided at all.
Yeah, it was pretty even, and then they got the Baron.
Yeah, and then it just ended. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and that's because TL just couldn't answer the Vega after, once they got that easy push. So, but that was my game.
Awesome. For me, I went a little bit different direction. I don't think this game was necessarily great, in that both teams played extremely well, and it was a high level game. But I picked Flyquest versus CLG. And my reasoning for it is, I thought this was one of the best team games we had all weekend from Flyquest. I thought this was beginning to end. They played super clean, super aggressive. It was fun to watch. Almost every player on their team was having a good game. Even as a CLG fan, it was kind of tough to watch. It was awesome. And where I want to start with it is, in bot lane, I thought Ignar was insane on Leona in this game. He goes...
That's his chance.
Yeah, 1-0 and 14. I mean, you could have convinced me CLG was a way worse SKT. It was like watching that series all over again. I mean, he dominated in this game. It was just... Yeah. It was a ton of fun. And even one thing to note here is, Viper is 3-0 and 3 this week in this game. So he's only a part of 6 of the 19 kills in this game, as opposed to in the first game where he's popping off on Riven.
Yeah.
Side note: Viper went deathless this weekend also. 11, wow. I think 11, 14, or 14, 0 and 4. I think he went insane stat line for the weekend.
Yeah, actually, wait,
it's like nutty. But yeah, he doesn't have a crazy game on Aatrox. He's good. He plays really well in it. But Power of Evil on Rumble and Ignar on Leona was just an insane combo for them. Just the amount of every team fight, it was oh my gosh, CLG has no chance of winning this game.
Yeah, just really good synergy. I was a Misfits fan, when they first started, and I'm just so happy back on the same team. It's and just that game just highlights, their synergy. They're just how they work together, and it's a good game, very exciting. I completely forgot Viper, deathless this week.
Yeah,
Flyquest looking just so promising.
Yeah, I love it. I love their style. They're like C9 Light. They're like the team that we thought they're similar play styles, but I'll go as far as saying it's almost more exciting because of Wild Turtle. Because with Sven, I'm okay, he's solid, he's gonna be good. I'm not really worried about him. But with Wild Turtle, I'm oh my god, what is he gonna do? I have to watch this game because now he has Ignar, who's also insane in bot lane. And so every time I watch him now, I'm oh my god, every person on this team is insane. I don't know what they're going to do next. And, like we talked about earlier, they're by far the highest in kills in the league. My only concern is how sustainable is that, when you run into, a really good team. They're going to be
absorb their pressure.
Yeah, they're going to be a team who's we went 19-1 last game, and now we're going 1-19 in the next game. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about CLG's side of this except for Wiggly's Jarvan play in the mid lane was one. It's like solo queue 101.
That was.
Where you're like, please don't give Dolvos to my mid, please.
Yeah, that's when you'd like pause the. You just slash pause, and be like, hey, can we do?
Hey, I'm lagging on stage.
Oh, are you?
No, I'm saying like, in game, you're watching Wiggly. It's like, yeah, slash pause. I'm lagging on LAN. Please,
oh, yeah.
Can I read a remake? But yeah, that for my game of the week, that's it. I thought Flyquest was awesome. I thought it was a wonderful display of like domination by them. Like there was at no point in this game except for when they were walking off altar did I think CLG can win a fight here and win the game.
It was just a complete outclass, just in the coordination. But I hope Flyquest can keep up this form next week. It'd be really exciting for that to happen. They're up against TL, and they're up against Dave. So
yeah,
it'd be really cool to see them carry on this. It'll be really exciting to see. I want more trees. I want more trees to be planted.
More trees. Is this just to talk about it? We look at our teams. You have like EG, C9, Dig, Flyquest. Is this like the most fun? Split we've had as far as there's so many teams that are high tempo and want to fight all the time?
Maybe, actually. And I think that's good because these are teams that I believe, like teams that are going to have this high tempo and fast gameplay and know how to push their leads or know how to use their champs effectively like Jizuke did on his LeBlanc. Mm-hmm. I think this is the type of challenge that TL needs to kind of get them to change their own playset. Because even when they played, they weren't exactly playing that fast.
Yeah, and I think you see from Worlds last year, all the Chinese teams that are playing up tempo. You watch the FPXs, the IGs, where you're like, oh my gosh, they are constantly pressuring you. So we need teams like this in LCS to where when someone goes off to international competition, they're not blown away at someone's tempo. They're like, okay, yeah, I'm used to playing C9 and Flyquest every week that are constantly, making me make decisions on the map.
Yeah, so I am excited.
Same.
For the rest of this.
Is there any other games you want to hit on? I think we've talked through almost every matchup this week.
Yeah, we kind of basically did actually.
We did know actually kind of through it.
Anything? Let's see. Any game or no? Actually, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to our weekly for the week. For the positions we are going top to support, of course, and I'll start off with my list. My MVPs for this were top lane Huni. I feel that Huni, he just played a different type of Huni. It's like the next evolution. He didn't die this week. He was just solid. That Renekton with Gargoyle Stone Plate blew my mind, but it helped and helped not lose any leads. So that's why he's my top MVP. For jungler, I have Blabber. Just his play, his aggressive play, really helped with that C9 early game. I can see why he's your starter. And for mid lane, another C9 boy, we got Niski. I feel his Vega and Zoe play were a big part for their wins. Just his own map control using those champs was just about masterful. And for ADC, I have Johnson. I just feel he did a solid job. As a rookie, he didn't misplay, he didn't position poorly. He did what he had to do, and that's very good for a new ADC. And lastly, for my support, I chose Ignore. His hooks, his Leona, just fantastic. And as a fellow support player, I have to give it. And all right, how about you, Vega?
Okay. I like that we have different lists too, for different reasons. For me, starting in top, I have Someday. I thought Someday was the most stable rock top laner of the weekend. There was never, in any of the games, a moment where I thought Someday is not in a position to win his lane or use his advantage to win this game. I thought in both games, I found myself watching Someday in every fight. I was like, okay, if 100 Thieves is going to win, it's going to go through Someday. So I think he kind of performed to the level we expect of him, but awesome this weekend. In the jungle, I had Santorin. Super happy to have Santorin back. Flyquest looked awesome this weekend. 2 splits ago, Santorin was an all-league jungler. I think 3rd team. But it was nice to see him back in form. I thought he looked great this weekend. His Rek'Sai was awesome. For the mid lane, I had Froggen, because going along with the LCS broadcast a little bit here. But I thought Froggen was one of the X factors for Dig. If they were going to be good, Froggen had to be good. And this is the first time in a long time we've seen Froggen surrounded by talent, and he stepped up. He looked like an all LCS mid laner this weekend. At bot lane, I had Sven. I thought Sven had the most to prove on this C9 team because he's coming off a really poor stint on TSM. Not where he played poorly, but had some big plays that he's kind of known for now that were negative. And I thought I had worries about him stepping into an aggressive team and being able to fit that mold, and I thought he played wonderfully this weekend with that team. And at support, we match. I have Ignar. I think Ignar perfectly embodies Flyquest's playstyle. He was hyper-aggressive. He was clean. I thought he was the spearhead for this team with engages and everything like that. And as also a support main, it was just wonderful to watch. The hooks, the Leona, everything about it was amazing. So, yeah, that's my MVP team. Moving on to next week.
Did you say all-pro Ignar?
All-pro Ignar. Yeah, right now. First ballot, all-pro Ignar. First ballot. He's getting my MVP vote for the split. But, yeah, moving into next week, do you have any games you're looking forward to?
Yeah, for me, actually, my matches next week, I chose my 2 are CLG. For me, this will show me whether or not 100 Thieves are actually, as bad looking as people say, or and if they beat CLG, that'll prove them wrong. If they lose, they'll let me know, and I'll be a sad boy again. But that's for my first match of the week to look forward to, and then my second match is Fly versus Dig. I mean, this game, just watching last week alone, I cannot wait for these guys to go against each other. I feel like it'll be a fantastic match, very bloody or not. Maybe Dig will have the control and hold Flyquest down, but who knows? More kills, more trees.
Yes. And if CLG loses, are they donezo for this season, or are we gonna rip CLG?
Yeah, rip CLG. Sorry.
It's okay. We're used to it. CLG fans are used to this. For me, I have on my list TL versus Dig on Saturday, because I think this is a really big proving game for Dig. If Dig can come out and play against TL in the way they played this last week and be dominant and show the control they had against Team Liquid, who is also a very good team, then I think we can officially say Dig has arrived. They're one of the top teams in LCS. And for Liquid, it's an important game to still let people in the LCS know, like, hey, we're 1-1, but we're still Team Liquid. We're still, your 4-time back-to-back champion, we can't be ignored. And for my second game, I have Immortals versus Golden Guardians. And what we're calling the Toilet Bowl, because this is
Toilet Bowl.
This is the Toilet Bowl, because this lets us know, is Immortals as bad as we think they are? Is Golden Guardians this bad? This is a chance. If one of these teams comes out and stomps the other team, then we'll have our first clear, division of who really is the worst team in the league. So yeah, super looking forward to that one.
Can I make my prediction for the Immortals Golden Guardian games right now?
Yeah, go ahead, give it to me.
Golden Guardians, hands down. Closer gonna hard carry this game, and Ika's gonna get eaten alive. Golden.
There's no bias in this prediction whatsoever.
No bias.
No bias. If Immortals loses to Golden Guardians bad, then we could also just rip Immortals for this season. And I want to say, let me look back here, because I'm pretty sure. Okay, good. I did not pick Immortals to make playoffs. Never mind. Okay. Just wanted to make sure there before. But yeah, that's my 2 for the week.
with the end of our MVPs of the week and our future matches to look forward to, that is the end of our cast. Please tune in next Friday for everything LCS, and can't wait to see you all. And thank you for listening.